What's going on, guys? It's John here from Hot Take Hockey to give you a recap of Game 3 between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins. I just want to set the record straight. I could not do a recap Game 2 because I was actually at Maple Leaf Square, and then we went out after, so obviously I can't do a recap when I'm out, but tonight I tried to stay with the lock where the Leafs are at. Game 1 I watched at my place. Now Game 3 I watched at my place, and undefeated so far, so I think we're sticking with that. But thank you so much, guys, for watching this or clicking on this video. If you're here, subscribe to the channel, hit a thumbs up, comment your opinions on this game. But the Leafs come out with a big 3-2 victory in Toronto, the first home game of this playoffs. Obviously, they go to Boston for Game 1, win that one, and then the shenanigans that happened in Game 2, the Bruins took that one. Both 4-1 games, and this one is a really close one. I'm going to break it down. Goals, who played well, who stepped up in this game, and just talk about the impact of it going forward to Wednesday night for Game 4. So, Leafs coming in, obviously Kadri suspended for the rest of the first round. They needed to fill holes. Nylander, until the latter parts of the game, filled that spot in the third line center role. Marleau and Connor Brown on his wings. The top six stayed exactly the same, and Tyler Ennis drew into the lineup. For the Bruins, Steven Kampfer was on the back end for the Bruins, and Clifton was out of the lineup. Marcus Johansson still out of the lineup with the sickness. So Tuukka Rask, Anderson, both goalies who actually both played pretty well tonight. I know a lot of people keep saying Rask is pretty shaky, but you know what? He made a lot of saves when he needed to, and I don't think, looking at the goals, I really don't think the only one could be, you could argue, the first one, and that's exactly what I'm going to talk about right now. The Leafs scored the first goal, was sitting there beside Rask for the early 1-0 lead. I thought the fourth line for the Leafs was the best line out there in the first period. They were unreal. They had 3 shifts where they were driving possession in the Bruins zone, but the cycle was going really well for them. I thought a lot of people were saying Gautier's a little bit of a marshmallow, but he was using his size well. I thought Trevor Moore's had a great series. I mean, gets his first goal. But you know what? Not everything is stats all the time, and I feel like Moore, if you watch him versus a couple other players, like if we look at Nylander and Moore's step, the passion, the drive, he's just up there. And you look at it, like, for example, like his hit on Chara, he wants to be here, and he's proved that. And I guarantee he's one of Babcock's favorite guys right now in his head. So Trevor Moore, unreal goal. 1-0 Toronto. The Bruins would tie it up right away. I mean, they were still calling upstairs for the goal. And it's David Krejci, a really sloppy play, in my opinion, from both Riley and Hainsey. Hainsey kind of looked like he had bricks attached to his feet, kind of swinging at it. And then Krejci just gets a piece of it, and it kind of flutters over Anderson. I think Anderson would have wanted that back just in terms of positioning, but it was just a very sloppy play. And I think he was just trying to slide across. So that was a 1-1. And then this is where it gets exciting. So the next goal in the game would be a guy that obviously going into this game was pointless. A lot of people were kind of hamming on him again. Matthews needs to show up in this game, and he did exactly that on the power play. And it was Backus who got the high stick on Kapanen. I believe that was the penalty. Really smart play from Andreas Johnsson, who ended up being the first star of the game. Controls the pass, and he could have just whipped the shot on net. Ended up being a tight 2-on-1, and he passed it across to Matthews on the left side, who got a quick release, beating Rask for a 2-1. Go ahead for the Leafs. And then again, on another power play, it's Andreas Johnsson. So the power play ended up being huge for both teams here. It's Andreas Johnsson who Matthews gets into the corner. Tavares, a really good no-look pass. I wonder if he actually knew Johnsson was there. The communication definitely looked on point, especially on the power play today. And Johnsson, with patience, brought onto the back end, and he had pressure right on him and beat Rask top right corner. And that was a 3-1 lead for the Leafs. The Bruins would actually respond before the end of the second period, and it would be Charlie Coyle off. It was a shot that, I mean, a lot of teams do this, and you've seen it before at both sides. The shot on purpose goes wide off the backboard, and Charlie Coyle gets it past Anderson for the second goal of the game for the Bruins, cutting it down to 3-2. And the third period, I just thought the Leafs shut down the Bruins really well. All night, the Tavares line shut down the top line of Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak. I thought Pasternak was shaken up all night. He's without a goal in the series, knock on wood. Muzzin was right on him. Zaitsev was getting under Marchand's skin, even though Zaitsev, there's a couple times just still frustrating, whether it's the giveaways or the delay of game penalty. Zaitsev's still kind of frustrating for me, but you know what? They shut the guys down. They got under their skin. Tavares was on Bergeron all night. I think, yeah, Andreas Johnsson and Matthews had a beautiful night. Matthews, 2-point night. Johnsson with the game winner. I thought both of them played really well. The fourth line, again, played really well. I thought the third line was just, again, kind of a filler. Marleau, for the most part, he's just not there, but he doesn't really do anything negative. Like, the only thing I would say sometimes is he's a little weaker in the offensive zone, comparatively what we've seen from him in the past in his career. Obviously, he's getting older. For Nylander, you see it, right? I mean, the giveaway is just kind of the poor decisions sometimes in the neutral zone, and that's exactly why, if you saw it at the end, if you guys were paying attention, they put Gauthier out with Marleau and Connor Brown just because of there's not really trust there, I don't think, with Babcock and Nylander, obviously, and just with the giveaways he's had, they didn't want to put him there in the last few minutes. And then, like I said, I think overall, I think Anderson has been the best player. Like, I said in my other video, because Kadri was the best player in Game 2, like the best skater. For Frederik Andersen, he has been the best player, the best Leaf of this series so far. He has played stellar. He obviously only allowed 1 goal in Game 1, allowed 3 goals. That could have been allowing like 7 goals in Game 2. He stood on his head in Game 2. And this game, again, allows 2 goals. The second goal he had no chance at. The first goal he might want that one back, but just sloppy play from the defense. And the defense for the Leafs has not played bad at all. Again, they shut down specifically Tavares with Bergeron, but they shut down that line tonight, and that's what you got to do. You got to at least slow them down. They had opportunities. Don't get me wrong. If you look at the Bruins up and down their lineup, I thought their fourth line did nothing tonight. We're talking about guys like Chris Wagner, Noel Chari, who are supposed to get under people's skin. I saw none of that tonight. Wagner was a lot more active in Game 2, and you didn't see much of him tonight. There was a couple times. And the Leafs, making hits, there's always talk, and it's kind of frustrating, but there's always talk about the Leafs can't play this style of game. Well, you know what? The Leafs played this style of game more than the Bruins played this style of game tonight. Hyman knocked Chara down. Marner was making hits. Zaitsev was rubbing out Marchand. Like I said, Muzzin laid a couple hits on Pasternak. Pasternak was getting pissed off. This is what happens. If you can play this game in the playoffs, it's much better because you're a skilled team, and if you can bring that aspect, because really it's a lot more easier to bring that aspect rather than try to get some rough and tough guys with skill. And you saw it tonight a couple times with a guy like David Backes. Of course, he's rough and tough, but he's slower. He's getting older. He got the penalty. And you know what? That line was getting beat out a bit tonight. I think Charlie Coyle individually has played well this series so far. He has 2 goals in this series, so I really like what I see from him. But overall, I think the Leafs were the better team tonight. I think they fit better with what was going on. Don Cherry kind of said it in like a... I feel like he was over-exaggerating a bit, but yeah, give the Leafs some power play opportunities. I think that's the stat line right now before this, coming into this game, that the Leafs have had the least power play opportunities in the playoffs so far. Or I don't know if that's the season, but regardless, you give the Leafs power play opportunities tonight, and they score on 2 of them. So it just kind of shows, if you give the Leafs an opportunity in a more skilled setting, instead of always like forceful, and they actually brought that tonight, which is the funny part. So I think everything worked for Toronto tonight in their favor. Again, like, both goals were kind of a bounce back from the Bruins. Like, the first goal was all hype, and then the Bruins just kind of score a random one back. So I think the first goal for both teams was kind of greasy, but then after that, I think we saw a lot of skill from the Leafs, a lot of speed, throwing the body around. And again, I think Anderson was the better goalie. I don't think Tuukka Rask played bad, but when Anderson's on his game like this, I don't think the Leafs are going to lose while the team's playing like that. Like, the Leafs lost Game 2 while Anderson was stellar, and I can honestly say, like, that team played horrible. Like, it was a different Toronto team in Game 2. So if the Leafs can slow down at least that top line, the Leafs have, and I've talked about it, and a lot of people might disagree with me, but especially with, if Marcus Johansson's out And I know Kadri, I mean, maybe that balances out a little more, but I still think the Leafs beat out on depth. And it kind of showed tonight with the fourth line and even the third line. I think both third lines in terms of matchups, I think the Leafs have it. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. If you're here, please subscribe to the channel. A big 3-2 victory for the Leafs in Game 3, heading to or staying in Toronto for Game 4 Wednesday night. They'll look to extend to a 3-1 lead. The Bruins will look to tie it. So we'll see what happens there. I don't know. I would expect maybe Marcus Johansson back in the lineup, so that might make a difference because he is a Leaf killer, but knock on wood again. But thank you guys again. Andreas Johnsson, Austin Matthews, big, and I have to mention, I'm wearing my Marner jersey right now. 2 huge blocks from Mitch Marner. I gotta give hype to Marner there for the end, and he played a pretty good game as well. I think Marner, Tavares, and Hyman, as much as they didn't contribute offensively on the stat sheet, they shut down that Bergeron line really well, and I think they've got to get a lot of credit as well. So thank you guys. This was John from Hot Take Hockey. Hit a thumbs up as well and comment below. All right, guys. Peace out.